Good evening, everybody. Thank you for joining us here. We're just a minute or so before we get started, so take some time to get settled. Welcome to the call, and we're going to get started in just a moment. Thank you for being here on time. It is just about 6 p.m. right now, but I see we have a bunch of folks who are still joining this call, so we're going to give them about 30-45 seconds before we get started. We'll get started in just a minute. Thank you all for being here. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and kick this webinar off. Thank you all once again for being here and giving us a little bit of your time this evening. While some folks continue to get logged in, I want to take a moment and make sure all of you understand how to use this Zoom webinar. The most important thing that I want to mention is on the very bottom of your screen, you will see a button that says Q&A. Throughout today's session, please feel free to ask any and all questions that come to mind, and we will do our very best to answer as many of them as we could get to. So that's a Q&A button. At any point, feel free to ask us questions, and we will try to answer those as quickly and efficiently as we can. Here's just a little overview of how we're going to spend this hour. We're going to break it up into 3 sections. Section 1, we're going to give you an overview of the National Math Stars program and talk a bit more about how we've designed our program for impact. Part 2, we will talk about our admissions and selection process and how we narrow down the students we ultimately admit into our program. And part 3 will be that open Q&A time where we'll try and get through as many of the questions you've asked as possible. Now, before we go any further, want to take a moment just to introduce myself and the 2 colleagues that I'm here with today. So good evening, everyone. My name is Alex Lockoff. I am the head of partnerships here at National Math Stars. My career began as a 5th grade math and science teacher out here in California before moving and working in the educational technology world and then joining the National Math Stars team in early January of last year. And I'm excited to introduce both Keith and Troy. So Keith, I will turn it over to you first.
Yeah, hi everyone. Lovely to be with you all. It's an honor to be on the call. I'm a former educator in the Austin area. I was a teacher for a few years at a school called Austin Achieve, and then I taught 6th grade science there for a few years, and then we opened up an elementary school where I was one of the founding principals. So my whole career, my whole background has been education, and more recently elementary education. From that time, similar to Alex, had an ed tech role, and then thankfully found lovely National Math Stars.
And hello, everyone. My name is Troy Scott. If you are from the Midwest region, I have likely talked to one of your child's schools before. I am also a teacher, similar to Keith and Alex. I taught both at the middle school and high school level before moving into the ed tech space as well. And thankfully, I'm here at National Math Stars to where we can make a huge difference in the lives of some really, really talented young mathematicians. So I will pass it back over to Alex, where he can give you guys some details on what we're going to talk about tonight.
Already, and I wanted to give you both, or everyone here, a chance to meet both Troy and Keith. They are going to be furiously typing in the Q&A section. There are many of you on this call and just 3 of us, so be a little patient if it takes us a couple minutes to get back to your question. Troy and Keith will be working as hard as they can to answer those questions as we go, and I'll be able to voice over some answers as we get to a couple breaks in our presentation. But let's start talking about National Math Stars. We are a group of former educators. You heard myself, Troy, and Keith, but really our whole team talk about how our journey into this work began in the classroom working with students. I think that experience is important for 2 reasons. First, it means all of us come to this work from a place of real commitment to serving students and helping young people reach their potential. And it was in the classroom that many of us realized the challenge that advanced and extremely advanced students face in getting the resources, the challenges, and the opportunities they need to fully thrive. It was the motivation to tackle that problem that led us to found National Math Stars. And our mission at National Math Stars is to ensure that mathematically extraordinary students coming from all communities have the resources they need to reach the frontiers of math and science. Now, oftentimes people ask me, Alex, what is the frontiers of math and science? And I want to share that for us, it's open-ended. We think that young, brilliant children could grow up to do a lot of amazing things, whether that is becoming an entrepreneur and starting their own business, whether that is deciding to pursue a PhD or advanced research, whether that is to the joy of solving pure math problems. We believe there are a lot of ways that these talents can be utilized, and we want to help students have the resources and opportunities to explore all of those paths. The way we do this is through our support program. So National Math Stars runs a free support program, and let me emphasize that word one more time. Everything we do is totally free. Our support program is focused on serving extraordinarily talented second and third grade mathematicians. We work with those students over a 10-year period, so all the way through when they finish high school. Along the way, providing more than $100,000 in resources, support, and help accessing opportunities so that they can maximally develop their talents and pursue their interests. Now, this is not something theoretical. I am really excited to introduce all of you to our cohort of 61 National Math Stars from last year. These are our 2024 National Math Stars. During the time, we were working exclusively in Texas, and following our success there, are excited to be expanding up into the Midwest region in addition this year. Now, there are three important things for you to remember when you think about our program. First, one thing that sets National Math Stars apart is we start young. I imagine for many of you on this call, you may know your child is advanced, but you probably didn't think opportunities to develop those talents would start until middle school or even the high school level. However, we believe starting young is essential. It both ensures that we have more time to work with and support every student we serve, but it also makes sure that performance gaps based on access to opportunity don't go on to have an undue effect, and we can reach students early when those gaps are smaller. Now, the second thing that sets us apart from other programs you might have heard of is we are highly selective. We can only serve a few students, and so we're really looking for students who show signs of 1 in 1,000 levels of math talent. We're thinking not just the 99th percentile, but those students in the 99.9th percentile who are profoundly ahead of where they need to or where they should be and need more support desperately. Now, the third point, and the reason we make these painful decisions to be selective, is that it allows us to invest heavily. We don't want to be an organization that provides a little bit here, a little bit there. We believe in taking big bets in some of the most extraordinary young people around this country. And that's why we commit to providing up to $15,000 of support per student per year to unlock all aspects of the STEM enrichment ecosystem. So I encourage you to take a moment to look at this slide, to think about it, and to understand how we set ourselves apart from other organizations or extracurriculars that you may know about so far. Now, on this next slide, I want to talk about how we relate to what your child is doing at school. Oftentimes people ask me, does this mean my child needs to move to a new school? And the answer is no. We exist to build on top of what your child is already doing at school. Here's the thing. People often think that reaching the frontiers of math and science starts by doing well in elementary school, then heads to middle school, you do well in middle school. You go and you take some advanced coursework in high school. You get into a good college, you take some courses there, and then you're able to reach the frontiers. However, what research has shown us is that students who really grow up to maximize their ability layer supports on top of what's already happening during the school day. Those are things like personal math mentoring, taking advanced coursework from an early age, learning relevant skills like computer programming, getting involved with clubs where they can interact with peers who share those interests, be it a robotics club or a computer-aided design club. As students get older, trying out contests and competitions, whether that is something formal like the AMC 8 math exam or your local science fair. And as students get into the high school and college years, helping connect them with research and internship opportunities so they can actually start working with people who are pushing the frontiers already. National Math Stars represents all of these yellow bars and aims to supercharge what's already happening during the school day. We do this by providing 4 categories of support: math development, financial support, supportive community, and family advising. Let me break those down one by one. First up, we have math development. This includes free math coaching, access to advanced coursework, and summer enrichment camps. Let's start with that coaching piece. Every single star in our program gets access to a once-a-week virtual math mentoring session. You can see Tavish here working on defining the shapes that make up objects with Dr. Maria. Dr. Maria holds a PhD in math from the University of North Carolina. She is someone who is steeped in this world and who can both role model as well as support Tavish as he pursues his interests. I use his interests to emphasize that these sessions are flexible. We're not providing a set curriculum in these math mentoring sessions. We encourage students to bring their interests forward, and we build the sessions in response to their interests and where their passions lie. The second piece of math development is access to advanced coursework. The fact that your child is participating in this process in any way means that they likely are ready for more challenge than they are currently receiving during the school day. That's why we believe in helping every star in our program pursue accelerated coursework. Often we work with Art of Problem Solving, who have a range of amazing online courses covering elementary content, as well as algebra, geometry, and all the way through college level math. And we partner with many other course providers as well, such as the Russian School of Math, Johns Hopkins CTY, and more. And the last piece of math development, this is a personal favorite for me, is we ensure every star in our program is able to attend at least one advanced STEM summer camp each year. Whether this is a local day camp near you or a multi-week sleepaway camp, we believe this exposure to a community of like-minded and extraordinary peers is essential for your child's development. And that's why we're going to work to cover 100% of the cost every single year for them to attend a camp like Epsilon Camp for profoundly gifted elementary mathematicians. Math in the Mountains up in Jackson Hole, Wyoming, where students blend advanced math with outdoor exploration. Or Johns Hopkins CTY, where students can live and study on the Johns Hopkins campus throughout the summer. But it's not just about math development. The second bucket of support we provide is financial support. We get it. Things are expensive these days. And for many of you who are pinched at the end of the month when it comes to finances, it can be hard to afford those enrichment activities and those enrichment items. That's why every family in our program gets access to $3,000 each year as a stipend that they could use to cover the cost of any STEM enrichment activities. We've had students use those to get monthly deliveries of robotics kits, to cover the fees for them to attend supplemental coding classes or other math courses they're interested in, to purchase a 3D printer so they can start turning some of their ideas into real things in the real world. We have folks use these funds to cover Rubik's Cube competition fees, attend local math circle courses, and much, much more. This is designed to take the financial bite for you as parents off the table and to make sure that your ability to pay doesn't dictate your child's ability to learn. The third bucket of support we provide is a supportive community. When we were launching National Math Stars, we talked to parents, teachers, and gifted students all across the country, and we asked them what some of their challenges were. One of the most common things we heard was that students are lonely. Now, especially if you're in a smaller school or school district, maybe one that's serving 1,000 or just a few thousand students, your child may be the only person in their class, in their school, or perhaps even their entire district that is this far ahead and ready for more challenge. That could be an isolating experience, which is why we recruit a cohort at a time. A cohort of students join our program each year because we really want those students to become friends over the 10-year period, to push each other, to support each other, and to challenge each other as part of a community of fellow extraordinary mathematicians. Students who are accepted in the program get to do this through a welcome weekend at the start of their first year. We will cover the travel, the lodging, and all of the costs for both you and your child to come to a weekend where you can meet all of the other students in the program, all of the staff here at NMS, and kick off your experience with us. And I think you can tell from the photos on the screen, this is a lot of fun. We have such a blast having the students come to these welcome weekends. And from the first day they arrive, where they're nervous and a little shy about making friends, to 2 days later, where they're heading out with a bunch of friends' phone numbers, ready to organize times to meet up on their own outside of this. Welcome weekend is a highlight for our team each and every year. And the last piece we want to talk about, our fourth bucket of support, is family advising. Because look, we understand these students are 7, 8, and 9 years old when they're joining our program. So it's as much about supporting you as parents as it is about supporting your child as a learner. We pair each family with a dedicated family advisor. These advisors have a limited caseload of just about 30 families, and that means you can get real dedicated support on anything you might need. We'll meet with you minimum at least once per month and can work with you to craft goals or learning plans to help you support you in advocating within your school or school district for what your child needs. We can help you research and find summer camps nearby and really just be a go-to sounding board, because we understand that supporting extraordinarily talented young people is hard. It's hard for you as parents, and we want to be here to help. So our hope is that those 4 buckets, math development, financial support, supportive community, and family advising, allow us to change what's possible for your students. And I want to pause here. This takes us to the end of our first section, broad overview of the organization and our program. I see many questions have arisen in the chat, and I know Keith and Troy have been answering many more. We'll spend about 10 minutes, 5 to 10 minutes, answering some questions about the program and program design. And then we'll move forward into the next piece, which is admissions and selection. So what I'm going to encourage you to do is, if you have questions specifically about our program or program design, what the supports look like, how a certain piece works, locations or logistical questions, anything like that, please ask those in the Q&A tab now. If you have questions about admissions and selection, hold on. I'm going to get to those in about 5 or 10 minutes. So let's start powering through some of those now. We have one parent ask, how can National Math Stars accommodate any students that may need special accommodations for testing? Let me wrap this up and say we are committed to working with students who need any level of accommodations throughout our program. We already work with students who have a range of needs, and we believe in personalizing what we're able to do to make sure all students can be successful, regardless of what accommodations they need. I see several questions about admissions. I will be looking for some questions about program or training or program design. Here's a great one. What training or class will students attend if they're selected in August? Great question. So if your child is selected, here's what you can expect on a weekly basis. 1 1-hour math mentoring call on a one-on-one or small group basis. We usually prefer 2 to 3 students working with a math mentor at a time. That happens every week. The other thing that happens every week would be a virtual advanced course. These are primarily conducted online as well. And these are about 2 to 3 hours, sometimes more if there's extra homework or independence project students are working on. Those are the 2 standard weekly components. Then, of course, there's community events, there's summer camps, there's other things throughout the year, but that's kind of the primary thing you can expect week to week. This is a question. If my child is not chosen for the program, are we able to provide information about self-guided resources available to them to advance their skills? Yes, absolutely. Uh, we are committed to supporting those 99th and 99.9th percentile students because we know most of those students are not getting the resources and challenges they need. While we can't support each of them on our own, we will do everything we can to provide you the resources so you can support your child to the best of your ability. This is a great question. Where does your funding come from? Yes, we're able to provide a lot of funding to each student in our program, and this comes from generous donations from two primary foundations. They're called Karina Initiatives and the Polynera Fund, and they fund a variety of advanced math programs around the country. And it was actually through their work funding other programs that they recognized the need for National Math Stars or a program like ours to support extraordinary students starting at a young age and continuing over the long term. And so we're really enthusiastic to have their support in the long run to start and to continue growing this organization. This is a similar question to the first one. Supporting special needs children. This is something we are already doing across a range of domains, and we feel confident we can meet the needs of almost all students and would work with you individually if you're accepted into the program to make sure that that's not a barrier to your child's participation. Great question. Math, or is it only math, or does it include science? We believe math and science are deeply linked. At a young age, we focus primarily on math because we think that's foundational to later success. However, we anticipate many of our students, as they grow into middle and high school, will find science as the direction that their passions and interests lie, and we're enthusiastic about helping them to pursue those paths as well, be it a biology, a chemistry, a computer science. All of those are things we're excited about and more. Got time for a couple more in this section. What do summer camp schedules look like? And would your child need to go with a parent or chaperone? We would work with you on a personal basis to figure this out. Many parents in their first year, while children are still young, prefer local day camps, and those can be just during the day. But other students are heading to sleepaway camps, and some of those sleepaway camps do require parents to go as a chaperone. As needed, we can cover the cost. We're committed to making sure financial ability to pay is not a barrier to attending an amazing STEM summer experience. It's a great question. How many cohorts have completed the program? So National Math Stars launched in 2023 with a national pilot of 12 families spread all across the United States. In response to that, we launched our first cohort in 2024. That was the photo that you saw in the beginning of the slides. That was exclusively in Texas. And this year, as we head into our second full year, we will be accepting a cohort from the Midwest, as well as a cohort from Texas. Someone asked, where's the home of this program? We don't have a home. We're committed to serving students in all zip codes, in all communities where they are. So our staff and our team are distributed across the United States. And we, I think, are spread across at least 10 states or so already with plans to be in more. Someone asked, where is the welcome weekend held? I'm not totally sure yet. It will be the end of October-ish, but we are still planning that, and we'll make sure we communicate it to anyone who's involved with plenty of heads up. This question asks about lodging for a student that has two separated parents who both want to attend Welcome Weekend. Yes. Let me just reinforce, this is why for us being selective and serving a small number of students is so important. It means we can really personalize our program based on your unique needs. And so if you're in the program, we're committed to working with you to doing what's right for your student, understanding that every family has a unique structure. I'm going to do 3 more questions, and then I'll move into admissions and selection. My son wants to know what all types of activities or lessons will he learn when meeting with other students? So there are two primary ways outside of those field trips and community events we organize. Those are often to museums, to computing facilities, whatever's available near a student. But on that general weekly basis, students will interact in their small group mentoring sessions. This is a place where we encourage students to bring their interests and ideas to the table. And so it's not prescriptive, it's very responsive to whoever they're working with and what their interests are. And then we have our more structured curriculum through advanced coursework, where many students are tackling 5th or 6th grade math, building into pre-algebra, algebra, or even more advanced concepts, depending on their individual skill level. This is a great question, so I might actually call it for here on this question. My son would like to know, what do the previous groups like best about the program? Gosh, that's such a hard question to answer, so I'm going to hit it with a couple quick ones. For many students, it's the summer camps. And summer camps are such a profound experience for many students who've never traveled, perhaps out of state, who've never been to a sleepaway camp before, that really solidifies their feeling that they are a mathematician and that math is somewhere that can take them far in life. And that's one of the most exciting things we get to do. The second thing I'll surface is the friendships formed. I'm thinking back to Welcome Weekend, and I'm thinking about some of the students we serve in the Austin area who had no idea they lived just a few miles away from each other, but now are meeting up on a regular basis and enjoying interacting as fellow extraordinarily mathy, nerdy, amazing peers in the best sense of the word. And with that, we have 182 questions that I was not able to get to. I am sorry, everyone, but we're moving as fast as we can. There are many of you here on this call. I want to flip gears, though, and talk about admissions and selection. So my expectation is most of you here today have already submitted an application for your child. If you haven't, you can visit that URL at the bottom of the screen, bit.ly/2025 NMS. That will take you directly to our application. Please make sure to apply by the deadline of June 15th. But now let's talk about the admissions and selection process. This year, as of today, we have just over 5,000 or so applicants, and we're expecting that'll be near the final number. So we'll have about 5,000 applicants. These get narrowed down to a set of 400 finalists, approximately. And from that, we will select a group of approximately 100 stars for our 2025 cohort. So as you can see, this is a very competitive process with only about a 2% acceptance rate. And because of this, I really want to emphasize this message on the left. Please, as a parent, celebrate your child's accomplishment in being part of this process, regardless of exactly where they make it. Our mission is to celebrate the extraordinary things happening in communities across this country. And so we hope your child, and we hope you as parents, feel deeply proud that your child was invited to participate in this process. Simply being invited to participate means they are already at the tippy top of math performance. So whether they don't make it past the applicant stage, whether they're selected as a finalist, or whether they make it all the way to being a national math star, we hope that each and every one of you take some time to really congratulate, to celebrate, and to be honestly excited for your child, because this is a huge accomplishment, and we hope that all of you feel very proud. Here's a look at the timeline for how we make that selection happen. You can see on the top the kind of timeline and then the critical dates down below. So on June 16th, we will release our National Math Stars admissions exam, and you will have 2 weeks to complete that. I'll cover that in more details. It's due by June 30th. Our team will then spend 1 week reviewing all that data and selecting those 400 finalists. Finalists will be invited for additional screening steps. I'll cover those in a moment. All of July is the time period that families have to complete those finalist steps. And then in the first 2 weeks of August, our team sits down and we decide the 100 students we're ultimately going to accept for an announcement date this year of August 15th. So if you are on this call, the most critical date I want to stick in your mind is June 16th. On June 16th, you will get an email from me inviting you to take, or for your child to take, our National Math Stars admissions exam. That's the next action item on your part. That's the next thing to look forward to on your end. So let's talk about that piece in a bit more detail. I'm going to start off with the logistics. As I said, on June 16th, it will likely be mid-afternoon. You will receive an email from me with instructions for how to access and log into the National Math Stars admissions exam. The exam consists of 30 questions. Those are 5 different problem types that have 6 questions each. And we make sure before each problem type to have a couple practice questions so that students can get a hang of the format and the structure. We don't want anyone to be confused by how the questions are asked. The test has no time limit, although we estimate most students will be able to complete it in 1 to 2 hours. And students can stop and start as many times as they need. So if they'd like to do the test in one sitting, that's totally fine. If they'd prefer to break it up into 2 or 3 smaller chunks, that's totally fine as well. And finally, we natively offer the test in both English and Spanish. If you need additional language accommodations, our testing platform has some functionality to support that, but we natively offer the test in both English and Spanish. I get a lot of questions about how should I prepare for the test. And I have a simple answer here. We do not recommend preparing. We encourage you just to encourage your child to try their best and to have fun with the process. In addition, we cannot share, and I will not be able to share on this call, any information about what the question types are or specific guidance on preparation materials or resources. Our hope is to have a level playing field and to keep that information secret so that everyone has the same starting point on June 16th. Related to that, we know there's a lot at stake here and it feels high pressure. We encourage you as parents not to put that pressure on your child. And if your child is really not enjoying the process or not enjoying the exam, to not pressure them to complete it. How your student feels about this exam is a great indicator of whether or not they'll enjoy the types of things they'll be doing at National Math Stars. So if they're not enjoying the testing process, we encourage you not to push them and to celebrate their accomplishments nonetheless. And the last thing I like to share is to take some time to talk with your child about the fact that this test is designed to be really, really hard. All of those 5,000 applicants for our program are in the top 1 to 2% of students in their state or across the nation. So this is an incredibly talented pool of students. And to make sure we could tell students apart, we had to design a really, really hard test. That means while your child may be used to scoring in the 90s or 100 percentile in school, it's very unlikely they will do so on our exam. Last year, I believe we only had 1 or 2 people who received a perfect score, and the average score on our exam last year was a 53%, so just over 50%. So that puts in perspective, we've designed this test to be very, very hard. That being said, no advanced math material. So don't feel like you need to be teaching your child calculus or algebra or anything super crazy. We've designed the test to be hard, but to not require advanced math, and I hope that makes sense. So with that test score, we sit down as a team and we use it to narrow down all of the applicants into a cohort of about 400 finalists. And so those 400 finalists will receive a congratulations email, and those who are not selected will be notified on July 7th. I want to take that moment just to reinforce 4,600 or more applicants will not move forward to being a finalist. So please remember, being an applicant, being involved in this process is an incredible honor. Celebrate your child, encourage them, and congratulate them on the great things they're already doing. And if you are selected as a finalist, feel deeply proud that among an amazing and large cohort of extraordinary students, your child was selected as one of just 400 finalists. Finalists are invited for 4 additional screening steps. That includes a family interview, where one of our NMS staff members will interview parents and guardians. Your child does not need to be present for that call. We have a child math interview where our team of math mentors will interview each child who is applying and work through some math puzzles with them. We provide one additional exam. This is a proctored COGAT exam administered through Northwestern's Center for Talent Development. This is a virtual exam, and we do require it to ensure that every student goes through a proctored exam environment, just to make sure that everyone's being honest with their math performance. And then we have an income verification process to make sure that folks have represented their information in the application accurately. All this information comes together at the end of July to allow our team to decide the 100 students that we want to accept. As we think about these hard decisions, we think about them by looking for students who maximize 3 dimensions. Dimension 1 is evidence of extraordinary math talent. As I said early on, we're really looking for students who show those 1 in 1,000 profound levels of ability and interest in science, technology, engineering, and math. The second dimension is evidence of significant unmet need. And that doesn't mean you have to be critically low income to be accepted into our program. We understand need comes in many forms. For some of you, it may be that you're in a rural area and you can't find any opportunities nearby to provide your student with the challenges they need. For some of you, it might be that you or your child are recent immigrants to this country and aren't sure how to navigate the support systems that exist. For some of you, it may be financial. We understand every family is unique, and we're committed to a holistic assessment of each family and each applicant when we make our decisions. And then the third dimension we look for is evidence of program interest and commitment. Ultimately, we're looking for families that are not only capable of, but excited about joining us for a 10-year journey. For their students spending 4 to 7 or more hours per week outside of school, diving into math, not as homework, but as something that they love to do. And so we're really looking for students and for families that are very excited and passionate about the work that we're doing and the opportunity to dive into as much math and science as they can take. So that's an overview of admissions. I'm going to get back to some Q&A questions, and the time right now is 37 past the hour. We've got just about 20 minutes or so. During that time, continue to ask questions in the chat. Troy, Keith, and myself will be doing everything we can to get through these, and hopefully we're able to hit your questions throughout this process. First question is about Brilliant.org. So if you have applied to National Math Stars, you're eligible for free access to Brilliant.org. You can find the link for that access in the confirmation email that was sent to you after you applied. And if you don't see it, please send us an email. Email is on the screen, and we can get you that access link. Additional information in the email about tests. So the next step and the next time anyone will receive information about our admissions exam is June 16th. On mid-afternoon, June 16th, you will receive an email from me with all of the information you need. No information until then, so hang tight until June 16th. This is a question just on the format of the assessments, multiple choice, fill in the blanks. We use a range of question types, no single question type, so there's a range of different types. This question is about whether we're looking for kids below the poverty line or whether family income doesn't matter. I would say it's neither of those. We think income is an important factor in level of need that a family has. But as I said earlier, we understand each family is unique and that the needs of extraordinary students vary and can exist regardless of a family's income. So we take many factors into account and we try and do this holistically. Where does our group gather? Most of our programming is virtual. We will occasionally have in-person opportunities, and those will be set up with your family advisor and local families accepted into the program near you. So we'll tailor it based on your unique situation, but most of our programming is virtual, so that location isn't a barrier. I have 2 children, but I only received 1 email about this meeting. How can I know my second child is registered? So you should have received a confirmation email for each application you submitted. So if you submitted 2 applications, you should have received 2 confirmation emails. You will only have received 1 email about this webinar. This was just an update that I was sending out to everybody, but you should have 2 confirmation emails. Please check, and if you didn't receive a confirmation email, please reach out to the email on the screen so we can make sure your application was submitted correctly. This question is whether we'll have multiple locations for welcome events. I'm pretty positive that this year we are planning to do all students being welcomed in a single event. So yes, it is going to be a large gathering of families and staff and students for all 100 that are accepted. As I said, we're going to work to find a central location, and we will cover 100% of the costs for all travel and lodging for everyone who's attending. That includes family and student. So question asks what areas in Texas we have in-person classes. Most of our classes, as I've talked about, are virtual. However, we do have students attending in-person classes, and those really depend on what's available near your local area, whether that's some people are attending coding boot camp, some people are able to access local advanced math organizations. So if accepted, you could work with your family advisor one-on-one to find out what opportunities exist near you if you want something beyond virtual. Another question about income, I've touched on this before. It is one factor, but not the only factor we consider. And in our last year, we had families from across the income spectrum. So it's a piece of data we consider, but just one piece. This question asks, do the other kids they pair with get put into their classes so you work closely with the school itself? We exist to build on top of what's happening in the school day. So while we are always eager to collaborate with your child's school, we very rarely actually change what they're doing during the school day. We provide access to things like advanced coursework and math mentoring on top of what's happening during the school day, not in replacement of what's happening at school. So for most students, this is something that happens in the evenings or on the weekends, not during the school day itself. This is a question about family advising. Do you commit to the once per month meeting? What if you miss it? What if we start and realize it's not for us? Do we have to commit to the whole 10 years? So in terms of the once a month meeting, we understand schedules are busy. We can text, we can email, we can make sure we find a time that works. And if you miss it, if something comes up, like it's all good. We can reschedule and find a time. We're people. We understand you're people as well. We also understand that these are young children, and it's hard to predict how a 7-year-old is going to feel when they're 15. And so there is a risk for any family that while their child may love math today, they may not in the future. There's no formal commitment for you to stick with us for all 10 years. So while we hope that no family chooses to leave our program, if for any reason you decided you wanted to leave, you'd be free to go at any time. I've touched on the funding, so I'll just quickly say Carita Initiatives and Polynera Fund are our 2 primary foundations supporting our work. They do a lot of work in the math talent development space, and we're excited to have their support. The question, how much of the coursework and mentoring is in person and how much is virtual? Coursework and mentoring, I would say almost entirely virtual. Depending on your specific location, there may be in-person opportunities, but we expect for most families that these are handled virtually. I have a question, will we have to adjust to a time period to continue? For the initial admissions exam, it can be completed at any time. So I know many folks travel over the summer. You can complete that initial admissions exam at any time, regardless of what time zone you're in. If you're selected as a finalist, we are interviewing you and our staff are only available during certain hours. So we will have to find a time that works, but we have quite a wide window of availability. So I'm confident we can make that work. I have a question just asking about some more clarification about what the 30 questions on the admissions exam look like. All these details will come out on June 16th. We encourage you to not prepare or not worry too much ahead of time. Just encourage your child to have their best or to try their best and to have fun with the process. What about summer camps? We love summer camps, especially when they are science, technology, engineering, or math summer camps. And that's why we're committed to funding every child in our program to attend at least one summer camp each year they are with us. This is an interesting question. What types of research would the kids participate in? So as students get older, as they get into those middle school, high school, or college years, we encourage students to start interacting with folks who are, quote unquote, pushing the frontiers already. So that's helping connect them with professors, with researchers, with entrepreneurs, with engineers, folks who are already doing the groundbreaking work. We want your child to be exposed to those types of people from a young age and from early on so they can understand what it looks like to push the frontiers. I'll give one example. We actually have a sixth grader who is part of our pilot program that last year actually published their first research paper in a research journal, and it was documenting a mathematical analysis of the efficiency of various types of Rubik's Cube solving methods. And so I can't speak to the details of the research. It's not my area of expertise, but pretty awesome that he was able to get that published as early as middle school years. This question asks, how would you choose students for the program? I touched on this last slide. So there are 3 dimensions we look for when selecting students. Next question asks, bumping up 50 out of how many eligible students across all school districts in the Midwest? Any idea of the volume, as in how many total students have been recommended? Yes, so we have about 5,000 applicants. We'll drop to 400 finalists and about 100 National Math Stars accepted this year. This question asks, how are the funds distributed for the family? Do you pay directly for courses and materials? Yes, we do not actually give you the money. Otherwise, it would have to be taxed and then you would get less of the money. So instead, you talk to us about what types of things you want to purchase, and you can use that $3,000 budget, but we're actually dispersing the funds based on what you tell us you need. It's a great question. Will you share where our kids stand? And if they're in 2nd grade, can they reapply in 3rd grade? Yes, if you complete the admissions exam, we'll make sure to send the results to you. We can't release all of the test questions, but we'll give you a summary report of how your child did. And if they are currently in 2nd grade, they will be eligible to reapply next year when they're in 3rd grade. So they can have 2 chances for sure. Next question asks when National Math Stars started. Our program started in 2023. So this is our 3rd year that we're working with students. Next question, what level of participation is expected from the child? How do you measure that level of effort and engagement? What happens if it dips? We expect students in our program to commit to between 4 to 7 hours per week of work on top of what they're already doing in school. As I've talked about, that's those math mentoring and advanced coursework time. We are not judging students for performance. Once your student is accepted, they do not have to get re-accepted. They are in for all 10 years, so long as they would like to be. If their engagement starts dipping or they stop showing up for some of the programming that we're providing, that would be a conversation with our family, with your family advisor. And if we come to the conclusion that your child no longer wants to participate, we can, of course, split ways. This question asks, was the selection process based on the school district? Our process is not based on school district. We're looking for mathematically extraordinary students where we can add a lot of value and them and their families are excited. We do hope to see broad representation across many districts. We're currently partnered with more than 250 districts across all of the states that we're working with. So we hope to see a balance, but it's not something we intentionally select for. So another question, if my child's no longer able to keep up, what happens? We can't force you to keep participating. If you want to stop at any point, you're welcome to leave the program. But we really do hope that this is a win-win for everybody and so that you're excited about continuing. But we do understand things will come up and some students will choose to leave over the 10-year period. Not a problem. Is there any other testing or selection process pending for our kids to go through? Or can we consider that we are already in the program? No, no one here is already in the program. Everyone on this call is currently in this top bucket on my screen right now. You are part of the 5,000 applicants that have applied for our 2025 cohort. If you would like your child to continue through the process, the most important thing to remember is on June 16th, you will receive an email from me with instructions to take our admissions exam. June 16th, that's the most important date if you're wondering what's next. Next question, do we have a list of programs that kids will access throughout the 10 years? If you visit this URL, or if you just come to our main website, you can navigate to it. You can get more detailed information about our program and some of the different courses we work with. We evolve these based on personal needs, though, so it's really tailored to your child's unique interests and abilities. Next question asks, is this a pilot program? How do you define success? And can you tell us about your outcomes? Well, this is a great question, and I'm going to use this actually as an opportunity to say two things. First, this is not a pilot program. If I return to one of the first slides we had right here, you can see we're already working with more than 70 families across the United States right now, and we are in our third year of functioning. So this is very much a real program that's been around, and we're now excited to expand as we come up to the Midwest in addition to Texas. However, I do want to share for all of you on this call that based on the overwhelming demand we've seen for our program, we will be piloting a second version of National Math Stars launching later this year. This will be a lighter touch model of our core program, allowing us to serve a larger number of students. And participating in the selection and admissions process this year will keep you in consideration for that pilot as well. We expect to accept a couple hundred students into our initial pilot that will launch later this year. And so I encourage all of you to go through, because even if you're not accepted as a National Math Star, we will be launching and piloting a new program based on the overwhelming demand we've seen, and you'll be in the running for that as well. Question asks, is the online test taken on a specific day or is it flexible? Totally flexible. It just has to be submitted before June 30th. Can you tell me more about the assessment? No, I can't share any more details about the assessment. We encourage you just have fun, try your best. Are there tests that help figure out what directions to follow? Yes, there will be clear directions as well as practice problems built into the test so that it is easy for every student to understand how to answer the problems. We don't want confusion to cloud your child's math ability. Oh, this is a great question. Is my child required to attend summer camps? Not technically. If for some reason your family decides that's not something you want to pursue, we're not going to force you to do it. But we do think STEM summer camps are an amazing opportunity. So we'd highly encourage you, whether it's maybe not the first year, but at some point in the future to do it. And currently, I believe all but one student that you see in the photo on my screen right now will be attending a STEM summer camp this year. So our take-up rate has been quite high. This question, are you integrating AI into their instruction? We're a team of technologists for sure, and so I think many of us are excited about the prospects that artificial intelligence is bringing to both instruction and to education as well as the whole world. All of our mentoring and all of our coursework is currently done by highly trained people and instructors, and we have no plans to automate or use computers to replace that at any point. This question asks, are there any exams or tests? Yes, for getting in, less so once you're in. We're not retesting you year after year. You have to go through this admissions process once, then you're in for all 10 years, so long as you'd like to be. This question asks, will there be activities at the school if the student was selected or nominated by school? Yeah, so we partner with districts and schools to nominate their top students. Ultimately, it's the discretion of your school principal or district administrator, what they're choosing to do to celebrate that. But we hope they are celebrating your students because this is a tremendous accomplishment for them to be nominated. And as I've said several times, I hope that you and everyone involved feels proud of having some National Math Stars nominees. We do not have dates for Welcome Weekend yet. This question asks, how do we make sure students do not cheat on the admissions exam? This is why we have a proctored second exam for finalists that are selected. There's a limitation to what we can do for the initial exam. However, any indication that parents, instructors, artificial intelligence, or any other supports are used results in obviously immediate disqualification and disqualification for future applications as well. So we do take cheating and academic integrity as seriously as we can. Esto pregunta sobre español y sí, yo solo hablo un poco español, pero hay personas en nuestro equipo que habla bien. There are people on our team who speak Spanish well as needed. Thank you for listening to my answer. Next question is low family income a criteria in the selection process or does it not matter? It is one criteria, as I've talked about. It's not the only criteria, and we expect to accept a range of family incomes. Even if your family has low need, whether you get into this program, remember that we're also piloting that lighter touch program. And so there's multiple opportunities for us to find a fit, regardless of your specific income levels. What are our chances of getting selected? 100 divided by 5,000 gives us about a 2% acceptance rate. That's pretty tough. It about matches Harvard's acceptance rate from this past year, but we're going to do everything we can. I'm sorry. We were asked to submit STAR test results and are not expecting them until next month. What if we receive them after our test date? If you do not currently have test scores, don't worry too much. Only about 10% of applicants have any test scores at all. It is not a major factor in our admissions process. And so it is totally fine for you to apply and not to have any test scores to submit. That will not negatively impact your child's chances of admissions. National Math Stars was founded in 2023. There have been many organizations in the past that have been pursuing similar things. Those include Duke Tips, Baylor Tips as a program, and many others throughout the country, but National Math Stars has been around since 2023. It's a great question about the admissions exam, whether it can be done on a tablet or needs to be done on a computer. We recommend a computer. However, it is tablet compatible and you can access the testing website through Google Chrome or Safari on the tablet of your choice. We do not recommend using alternative browsers. We recommend Google Chrome or Safari.
Alex, we also have a couple of questions about the exam on if it can be translated to other languages, if you want to touch on that too.
Yeah, it's a great question. I believe the testing platform we use is called Pair Assessment. It's just a generic platform, allows for some translation. And if you have browser translation enabled on your computer, that should support. But we can only natively offer it currently in English and Spanish. We've got time for just a handful more questions. Sorry, we're not going to be able to get to all of these. This is how do parents ensure success in the program? We really believe parents are a key part of this equation. And so we are committed to working with both you and your child throughout these 10 years. We would meet with you regularly. Your family advisor would be a trusted partner. And we hope that we can really be a team in supporting your child throughout their growth and development. All right, let me get through a couple more questions that I haven't touched on. So great one. I already applied, but I need to edit the application. Can I edit it? Simplest process here is just send us an email to admissions@nationalmathstars.org. I'll flip over to that on the screen, and we can adjust that on the back end for you. This is a great question. As the program progresses, will the age groups mingle with each, or will each year's participants be a single cohort? We are really excited as our program develops and grows longer to have students intermingle across years. We think it's going to be incredibly exciting when some students who've been National Math Stars for 10 years are able to serve as mentors and role models for some of the students just joining our program. Currently, we've only been around since 2023, so our oldest students are early middle school years, but we still do hope that there can be some cross-grade level mingling there as part of a collective community of extraordinary students. And then this is going to be the last question I can answer here tonight, but do we try to get a variety of students from different areas, or do we focus on certain metro or rural areas? We are committed to supporting mathematically extraordinary students from all communities, and that really is central to our work. We would love to support an extraordinary student from every single zip code. There's a few too many zip codes for us to be able to do that quite yet, but I think it speaks to our motivation that we hope, whether you are living in a major metro or far out in a rural area, whether you have an advanced degree yourself or you have no educational background, we want to make sure that extraordinary students around this country are recognized, are celebrated, and are supported, because we as a team believe supporting the next generation of brilliant thinkers is something our society should be investing in, and we're excited to be a part of. So with that, I apologize if I was not able to get to your question. You're absolutely welcome to send us an email, admissions@nationalmathstars.org. Thank you for your patience. It is just a small team of us responding to over 1,000 people that were on today's call. So we will do our best to get back to you as soon as we can. But once again, thank you for giving us this portion of your evening. Look out for an email from us on June 16th. And once again, congratulations to both you and your child for getting nominated. We hope that you feel incredibly proud of being in the running to be a 2025 National Math Stars. And we look forward to getting to know each and every one of you more in the weeks and months to come. So thank you very much. From Keith, from Troy, from myself, have a wonderful evening, everybody.